Hey guys, TGKS Productions. For this Red Dead Online video, I have a difficulty 5 guide for you guys for the legendary bounty Virgil Edwards, also known as the Shepherd. So let's go ahead and read his poster here. Reward, offer for the capture, dead or alive. Shepherd Virgil Edwards, leader of the sacrilegious cult of the 7th generation, wanted in connection with a series of murders. He prophesies the mercy, a cleansing of sin, which authorities believe take the form of a mass killing. His inner circle, their foreheads branded with the inverted 7, are feverishly devout and heavily armed. Stop him before his mercy comes for you and yours. So let's go ahead and start this mission up here.
Okay, this crazy son of a bitch, Virgil Edwards, the Shepherd, leader of a sect called the 7th generation who believe mankind's about to face its final reckoning. A sadist with a silver tongue who's been gathering lost souls from far and wide, promising eternal salvation. He's gone to ground, hasn't been seen in months, but folk been saying he's put out a call to arms for some kind of mass cleansing of sin. Groups of his followers are camped out in Roanoke Ridge, north of Annisburg, waiting for their shepherd to appear and show them the way. Maybe one of them has some information that'll lead you to him, so he can face his own reckoning.
Alright, so when I show you the map here, you're going to notice that there's 3 search areas. And the one that I'm pinpointing right here is the one that I recommend you go to first. Essentially, when you go to these search areas, what you're looking for is there's going to be a number of these like enemies or cult members, I guess you could say. And also be very careful when you're traveling these areas. Because you're up in Annisburg, there's a lot of like rocky ridges and cliffs. So do be careful while you're traveling. I almost got myself killed here. But essentially, when you go to these search areas, there's going to be these enemies here, cult members you're going to have to kill. But the point of going to those search areas is you're trying to find this letter. And what this letter is going to lead you to is to a different search area that's not yet shown on the map, where actually the legendary bounty you're trying to capture, Virgil Edwards, also known as the Shepherd, is located. So that's the whole point of going to those search areas. I do recommend you go to the one that I'm going to first. The letter can be in any one of those search areas, but I think because of where, at least for my opinion, where you spawn, it makes the most sense to start with that one to eliminate backtrack. And there's even a couple other reasons why I like that one, but I do recommend starting with that one first, and then if you don't get the letter there, sort of just working your way over to the other 2 search areas. So let's go over to this first one here in search and see if we find this letter. So coming up to the first search area here, I do recommend that you follow the path for this because there is actually enemies that are going to be up on a cliff as well as below. And I like to go up on the cliff first, just because it gives me a height advantage over the enemies down below. So I do recommend that you follow the path here to this search area. That way you're able to get onto the cliff part. So it's going to be this cool little animation that takes place with these NPCs. Go ahead and check that out real quick, and then move on with our tactic.
Where is our shepherd? Will he not return to us? Do the unawakened grasp him in their unholy clutches? Has the behemoth struck? No. He will not return to us if we do not help him return. It is...
Now once you see that cult member kill what possibly might be another cult member, they fall off the cliff there, I like to silently take out these other cult members, including the one that killed the one NPC there silently with a knife. And then once that happens, there's going to be some enemies down below. So I like to use my rifle here and pretty much just really pick these enemies off. Do be careful you don't fall off the cliff. You obviously want to make sure of that, but I just like to use Deadeye here. You can even use a scope on the rifle if you have one, whatever works best for you. But really you're just working on, picking these enemies off, And then when really you can't see any more of them, you're going to want to move down the right side of the cliff here. So we're going to head move down the right side of the cliff here, and you're going to want to eventually you switch to your shotgun as you get down here, because you'll notice there's two enemies by sort of the mouth of this cave here, the opening of this cave. And this cave is right below where we just were on the ridge. And there's this cultist in here you're going to have to kill, as well as one or two other NPCs, so you're going to want to be careful moving in here. But I'm going to kill the cultist here right there, and then there's also an NPC back here I'm going to kill. But this cultist has potential. You have to loot the cultist. Now, the cultist may have the letter on them, which leads you to the location where Virgil is. The cultist may not. If the cultist doesn't, which in this case I didn't have it, you're going to have to go search another area. There's other two search areas that were shown earlier, so that's what we're going to do next. We're going to go ahead and go to the next search area.
Blinded by the darkness. It will all become clear when you are cleansed in the mercy.
Me? Cleansed? Oh yeah! They're bringing the mercy to you now!
You saw here that we had these three cultists riding on the horse there. One, I guess, was probably a higher up cultist. The other one, the one that has the blue, I guess, coat on or outfit on, that's the one you have to loot. The ones with the blue outfits are always the ones you're going to have to loot. But what's nice about this one is they're riding actually to a camp where there's going to be a handful more enemies. And if you catch them beforehand, you saw me dead-eye the cultists. If you catch them beforehand, you won't have to go to the camp. So that's really nice. You can just loot them real quick and then go to the third search area. You might even get the letter there, but if in the case you don't, you can just go ahead and head to third search area like I am. Also, as earlier I mentioned that the order that I go in, I like it for a couple other reasons. This is actually one of them, because one time that I actually changed the order of the search areas that I searched, as far as which ones I searched first and which ones I searched later, those three cultists were already actually at the camp, so I actually had to kill all the enemies in the camp also. And there's, it kind of got rid of the shortcut, I guess you could say, that I just took there. So that's one thing to keep in mind for the second search area. But let's go ahead and go to this third search area. And this one for sure is going to have the letter that we need.
I have received the note of summons. Yes, the time has come. Soon we will meet with our shepherd and fight alongside him. And now, a few of you have asked me about the shepherd. Maybe you've heard stories of...
So with the third and final search area here, again, the letter is going to be located on this cultist we're going to loot. But you saw that at that main tent in the camp there, the cultist that we're going to have to loot was talking to a number of other cultists. And I just like to throw dynamite there because there's around 8 enemies at this camp. And if you throw dynamite, it kills like 3 of them pretty much instantly before they even start shooting at you. So if you have some dynamite on you, I recommend that. I did shoot a dynamite arrow in there one time too, if you happen to have those. It didn't seem to be as effective. I don't know if I just didn't shoot it in just, in quite the right spot. But throwing the dynamite, I've used that a number of times here, and it usually works fine. From there, I just like to, pretty much just work my way around the perimeter of this camp, take out the rest of the enemies, and then go ahead and loot the cultists here. And, if you need to take a tonic, obviously do that. If you need to fortify, eat minty big game meat if you have to do that also. It's up to you. But we're going to go ahead and... this cultist actually took me a second to find, but she's actually hiding behind a crate there. We do end up killing her. We're going to go ahead and loot her after that. So you notice after we looted that cultist there, we got a note. And this note is going to lead us to where Virgil Edwards is located. Now, one thing I want to make a note here of, and you'll see here it says in his note, he says make for the loft or go to the loft. This is sort of important because there are sort of two different notes you can get, and that also leads you to two different locations. So there's two different locations where Virgil Edwards can be in, at least that I've been able to experience. I've played this legendary bounty at least about 7 or 8 times now. I've only ever encountered 2 different locations with him being in, so I'm not sure if there's more than that. But this first one here, we're going to go ahead and check out how to take him down here, and then after this, after we deliver him, I'll show you briefly in a different difficulty. I think it was difficulty 4, the other location that he may possibly spawn in, and I'll show you how I sort of went about capturing him in that location. Also, whenever you find the note, no matter what search area you're in, whether you're in the first search area, the second search area, the third search area, all the ones that I just previously showed you, as soon as you find that note, you're going to have cultists chasing after you. So if you need to have a tonic here, even give your horse a tonic, you know, you can shoot at them if you want. For the most part, you should be able to ignore them. But like I said, just take a tonic if you need it, because they are going to chase you pretty much up until you get to the search area, or to where Virgil Edwards is going to be in that search area where the note's leading you. And then once you get there, they will stop chasing you. So we're coming up to where Virgil Edwards is going to be located. You might have noticed on the right there, there is one of their cult symbols, or their cult symbol on the tree there. But first, we're going to take a little bit of a stealth approach here for the first minute. We're going to go ahead, this person on the left here, we're going to go ahead and take him out stealth. And then as soon as we take him out stealth, we're going to turn right around here, and we're going to actually run up this cliff. And we actually did end up getting hit by a horse here. That typically doesn't happen. But we're going to run right up sort of where this the cliff almost runs down there. It almost looks like water ran down that cliff there at one point, the way that the rock is shaped. So you can run up there. It might take a couple tries. But you'll also notice there's 2 enemies over here. So we're going to go ahead and take this one out stealth first. And then as soon as we kill her, we're going to go ahead and move over to the right to this other enemy. And then also take him out stealth. Now, once we officially take these guys out stealth, we're going to also turn around here again, walk up sort of this cliffy area, and I'll show you on the map where I'm heading also, but I'm trying to essentially get myself in an elevated position. Now, also be careful, there is a guy with a machete that is going to be running towards you. Sometimes by the time that I get up to the point that I'm at, he's already there. Sometimes he isn't. You're going to notice when I get on this sort of rocky mount here, you'll see him running up. He's trying to get to us. Be careful, keep a lookout for him. Make sure he's killed first before you even start trying to pick off any other enemies, because he will kill you pretty quickly. Usually NPCs with machetes are extremely deadly. Now I'll show you on the map here where I'm located, just to give you an idea if you want to use this position. You have to have this variation. The whole point of me getting this elevated position, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, is because the loft that Virgil Edwards is located in, as well as where all these enemies are swarming, there's actually 2 sharpshooters or snipers that are sitting up in the top of that loft there. So if you get within range of that loft, they will be able to pick you off pretty quickly, you know, drain your health really quickly and kill you pretty quickly. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So essentially why I'm back here is I'm using my bolt action rifle. You can even use like a rolling block rifle or Carcano if you wanted to. It really is up to you. I'm using the bolt action rifle here because I'm eventually going to dead-eye some of these enemies, but I'm just sort of picking them off. A lot of times I'll start with the sharpshooters first. I believe I just killed one of them right there. There's 2 of them up in the tower, and then pretty much from there I just work on some of these other enemies that are around the loft itself. And I just pretty much kill as many as I can before I don't see any more moving around. You're not really going to be able to kill all of them. There's going to be at least probably 1 or 2 enemies once you move up, but obviously your sharpshooters are going to be down, and there's going to be a lot less enemies you're going to have to deal with as you move within range of the loft. So that's the whole point of why I like to sort of sit back here and pick off these enemies. So as I move up towards the loft here, I'm also going to get up on sort of this plateau, I guess you could say here, just so I'm at a higher elevation again. I'm going to look around, see if there's any more enemies, and usually there's going to be, like I said, at least a couple more enemies you weren't able to pick off. And I believe even some spawn too, so just be mindful of that. But also there are some that have like tomahawks. Be very careful, or whether the tomahawks, throwing knives, I'm not sure. They will deplete your health very quickly, so also watch for those. Using a dive in that situation usually can I guess defend against those, or if an NPC throws one of those at you. What I'm going to do is I had to run up to the loft there. The reason why I ran up to the loft is I had to trigger Edwards running out of the loft. So once I run up to it, he'll start walking out, and I'm going to get back on this plateau here, and I'm going to sort of use the explosive ammo here in my bolt action rifle, and I need to do this to be able to deplete the armor that he has on. You cannot hog tie him or capture him until that armor gets depleted. So I'm staying at a safe distance away from here because he does have a shotgun which can deal a lot of damage. So I'm just staying a safe distance away here, shooting him with the bolt action explosive, or with my explosive rifle ammo here at the bolt action rifle. Now you can also deadeye him. I do recommend you do that just because I missed a few shots, and obviously if I dead-eyed him I probably wouldn't have missed any shots, so I had to go to the explosive ammo in my volcanic pistol here. So just be mindful of that. You do want to be careful that you're frugal with your ammo. Now if you don't have explosive ammo, if you have dynamite, usually like 3 to 5 sticks of dynamite can also deplete his armor really quickly, but eventually after so many shots you will be able to go up and he will surrender, and then from there you can pretty much go up and capture him, hog tie him from there, and then you're going to want to quickly get right on your horse after that. In fact, you might want to even take a tonic before you do this, because there are going to be enemies spawning. They're going to be trying to kill you, so you're going to want to get on your horse extremely quickly and start heading towards either the jail or the prison wagon. I believe I delivered him to a prison wagon, but yes, you are going to want to be careful because you can see there are enemies moving in on me here. There's more enemies coming on horseback, so just be careful of that.
To enlighten you with our doctrines. I do not think you could see them. I will afford you one piece of advice, Behemoth. After you drop me, pray. Pray and hide, Behemoth. This is not the end. It was just a battle. My flock is everywhere. In every town, there are those who see the rich have become fat and bloated leeches. In every homestead, there are those who hunger for a fresh beginning. You know men and women. Perhaps you know them well. But have you peeked under the brim of their hat? Have you peeled back their bonnet? If you have not, you have missed the 7 born into their skin. They're all around you. And out. Ah, the familiar side of the township. No, stop! Bastard of darkness!
So now let's go ahead and look at the second location that Virgil Edwards can spawn in. You see by this note here, he wants us called to come to Beaver Hollow, and there's actually a cave that is located there. So let me go ahead and show you where that is. So if we look on the map here at this area, if you go to the bottom left side of A in Ansburg, that is where the cave is located. So that's where we're going to go ahead and head to, and I'm going to show you how I went about capturing Virgil Edwards once I was there. So we're approaching the cave here, and you notice first off there are 2 NPCs or cult members outside here. We're going to go ahead and take both of them out. I do recommend bringing in a shotgun going to this cave, just because you're going to be in close quarters. Shotgun's going to do much more damage up close. Now, before I moved in here, I noticed that the one NPC outside here, there's sort of like almost a shield or some sort of glitch on the side of the cave there where I wasn't able to hit the cult member there, but I do end up killing him here. And most importantly, before you move in the cave, ensure you wait for the cult member that has the machete to come out first. Just like in the last variation, there is one cult member that has a machete. He will willingly try to kill you, and usually the NPCs with machetes are pretty deadly. You see he's coming out of the cave right here towards me. I'm going to go ahead and kill him. I don't want to move into this cave until I ensure that that guy is dead. Now, as I'm moving in here, there's usually one NPC to the left here, and I do understand that they are coming up on the map here. This was in difficulty 4. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this in difficulty 5, but this should give you a general idea of what to, tactic to run if you do indeed get this. Now, I'm moving up the far right side of the cave. That way, I only have to worry about in front of me as well as to the left of me. Wouldn't really recommend going up the middle of the cave. Now, be careful as you're moving through there to where this sort of these wood planks are located, just because there is an NPC that I just killed it that like runs out in front of you and throws a throwing knife or like a tomahawk at you, and again it can drain your health really quickly. But go ahead and take a health tonic here. We're going to keep moving through the cave. And one thing you'll notice here once I kill this NPC, and this sort of just shows you how much damage that throwing knives or the tomahawks can do, because I actually have a tonic applied here, and I got hit by one. It completely depleted my health. Got very close to that point, so I flanked to the left here just so I didn't directly run right into where that NPC was with the tomahawk or throwing knife. Go ahead and take a few more enemies out here, and at this point you should be getting really close to Virgil Edwards. And pretty much once you trigger him, he will start approaching you. And that's really what you want to do. That's the whole point of going towards him in the cave here, is to trigger him. As you can see him running towards me right now. And just like in the last variation, you're going to want to run away from him, run back. Personally, I'm going to get back to where those planks, where you can see I even threw some dynamite there. But that upper level to where those planks I mentioned earlier, those wood planks, I'm going to go back up there and just work on shooting him with my bolt action rifle with the explosive ammo, and that's really your best bet. Again, you want to keep, the main thing to remember is keep distance between you and him, because he has a shotgun. So if you're close up to him, and he's gonna be able to do more damage. You don't really need explosive rounds to deplete his armor. It's just gonna deplete it much quicker if you have the explosive ammo. But nonetheless, just increase your range between you and him. That way he can't deal a lot of damage on you. And once you do eventually get Virgil here, I like to run up the right side of the cave as I exit. You can see there are going to be enemies running in on you, as well as enemies when you exit the cave. And the reason why I like to pick a side, also just to sort of justify that, is obviously you don't have to worry about that side enemies coming through, because if I'm hugging a wall of the cave, there's going to be no enemies coming from that side. So that's why even if you moved up the left side of the cave, it really wouldn't matter. Just, I think the right side was a little bit closer from where I was at. That way, at least have one side where you guarantee no enemies are going to come from. There are some enemies outside the cave here. Definitely, if you need to, kill as many of them as you can, because as I was getting Virgil on my horse here, I did get really close to dying, because there were a lot more enemies than I anticipated here, and they dealt a lot of damage on me. And obviously, dying right now would really be unfortunate. So, I was lucky enough, I popped the tonic really quickly, but do be careful, make sure you kill as many of the enemies as you can, get Virgil on your horse, and then from there, deliver him to either the prison wagon or the sheriff's office. And really, these are the only two variations that I have encountered for this legendary bounty. I'm not sure if there are any more, but that is how I went about these two variations. Now, as I've done with other legendary bounty videos, I'm going to be going through the total earnings that I received, going through all 5 difficulties for Virgil Edwards. So the totals we received going through all 5, or completing all 5 difficulties for this legendary bounty, received a total of $787.79, 2 gold bars, and 8,904 player XP. And I was also earning rule XP. However, it wasn't telling me how much I was earning, but I did notice because the new feature that allows you to reset the Bounty Hunter Ward after you completely max out all 30 role levels with the regular Bounty Hunter license and the prestigious Bounty Hunter license, that award that lets you progress 10,000 rule XP and then reset it, earning you $100 and 0.5 gold bars. I noticed that that was progressing, so I was earning rule XP even though it wasn't telling me how much I was earning. I will probably, as I've done with my other legendary bounties, compare this to the last one, which was Carmela Montez. I still have to create that video. That was a week that I had finals in college, so I didn't really get around to creating a guide for that. But these are the totals for this legendary bounty, Virgil Edwards. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. As always, have a great day.